For our inquiry group project, we chose the book Diagnostics, Literacy Assessment, and Instructional Strategies.
The book defines the primary goal of comprehension as constructing meaning by monitoring understanding, enhancing understanding, acquiring and actively using knowledge, and developing insight. Keene and Zimmerman found that proficient readers were able to remember and apply what they read, as well as create new background knowledge for themselves, as well as discriminate and carefully analyze the text and author. Proficient readers are also able to engage in conversations or analytical discussions in response to what they read.
Being aware of our thinking as we perform specific tasks and then using this awareness to control what we are doing is metacognition. Metacognitive awareness involves self-questioning and has to be built into all literacy instruction. The teacher must model these metacognitive strategies. 4 major aspects of metacognitive in reading are knowing oneself as a learner, which is being aware of what you know and do not know, having reasons for your likes and dislikes, and being able to activate your prior background knowledge. 2 is regulating, knowing what to read, knowing how to read it, being aware of text structure, and knowing how to use this information. 3 is checking comprehension. This is evaluating your own performance, being aware when comprehension is lacking or confusing, knowing what information is important, and engaging in self-questioning to determine if your reading goals have been met. Number 4 is repairing, taking steps to correct your comprehension, including problems caused by unknown words or concepts, misreading punctuation or phrasing, confusing relationships between ideas, misinterpreting main ideas or important ideas, or having inadequate or conflicting prior knowledge.
Schema theory involves an interaction between a reader's own knowledge and the text, which results in comprehension. Carroll noted that there are 2 types of schemata. One is the content schemata, which is one's worldly background knowledge. The other formal schemata, which is background knowledge of rhetorical structure. Schemata is activated through the process of reading a text. Readers activate and build upon their schemata through direct and indirect experiences. Activating students' prior knowledge and creating text connections before, during, and after reading enhances a student's comprehension of a text.
Classifications of written text. There are 2 main divisions in written text, which are fiction and nonfiction. Fiction is the telling of stories that are not entirely based upon facts. Genres of fiction include realistic fiction, historical fiction, science fiction, fantasy, and mystery. Nonfiction is an account or representation of a subject presented as fact. Genres of nonfiction include histories, biographies, journals, letters, essays, speeches, reference books, dictionaries. The 4 basic modes of discourse which describe the variety, conventions, and purposes of the major kinds of writing are narrative writing, which describes a sequence of fictional or non-fictional events in the form of a story, descriptive writing, which provides vivid details of a person, place, object, event, or feeling in a way that can be clearly seen in the reader's mind, expository writing, which is a mode of writing in which the purpose of the author is to inform, explain, describe, or define a subject to the reader. Persuasive writing is designed to convince the reader to believe or do something the writer argues a case for a particular point of view, often taking the position for or against an issue.
There are various comprehension levels. The comprehension process is categorized in the following categories. There's focusing, information gathering, remembering, inferring, analyzing, evaluating, and creating. Each requires metacognition and self-questioning in order for students to become actively comprehend the material. Students gather information from the text from previewing the structural setup while asking themselves metacognitive questions to activate prior knowledge, make predictions, determine what they want to learn from a text, as well as identify the best strategy to comprehend a text. Remembering is recalling information that is clearly stated within a text. This involves identification of story elements, main ideas, characters, as well as sequencing and summarizing the main events in the text. Inferring is a student drawing conclusions, grading predictions, and generalizing. If students are capable of inferring, they are able to structure their information in a way that is not stated directly in the text. Analyzing is the process of clarifying, making comparisons, and separating personal ideas and opinions from what is stated in the text. Finally, evaluating is making judgments about the text, such as what the writer's purposes and biases are, as well as examine the writer and the text in various other ways.
Instructional frameworks to support comprehension. There have been several instructional frameworks that have been developed to support comprehension. These frameworks are similar in that they include a planning or pre-reading phase to elicit and develop background knowledge and make connections, including the topic, text, and strategy introduction. They also include an implementation of or active reading phase with scaffold questions and prompts. Lastly, they include a post-reading phase with experience to revisit, respond to, and expand upon the text. These three frameworks are the comprehension strategy framework, scaffold reading experience, and guided reading.
Now we will present you with various reading and listening comprehension strategies for you to use in your tutoring sessions as well as in your future classroom.
So the discussion questions are, what comprehension strategies have you used in your clinical experience so far?
What strategies that we included will you try and incorporate in your sessions?
And what comprehension process do you typically assess with your students? So reading and listening comprehension assessments, an example is oral or written story retelling analysis. The purpose of this is to analyze oral or written retelling of narratives. So the procedure and analysis is you give a student a copy of an oral or written story retelling analysis sheet. Say, tell me, or write everything you remember about the story in order. Mark each element with a plus sign if the students provide a complete correct response, a check mark if it is a partial or partially correct response, or a minus if the response is incorrect or not given. Add comments to clarify behaviors.
Thank you.